It is Wednesday, December the 23rd, Christmas Eve, if you will, and this is my news radar. It's going to be probably a fairly short news radar today because the news is beginning to really wind down pretty hard as we do approach the big major Christmas holiday. Obviously, plenty of other holidays out there, Hanukkah, so forth. Whatever you celebrate, I do hope that you're having a good holiday season. But like I said, this might be a little bit of thin episode for you guys. Let's start off here by talking about maybe a confirmation of a series of leaks and or rumors that I've reported on over the last few weeks. For the longest time, Samsung has made the Galaxy Note line concurrently with the S series devices, and the biggest thing that separated the Note from the S series was simply the stylus that will be stored inside the Note, the S Pen, which really separated that phone from pretty much any other phone on the market. Well, we've been talking for a while now about how the S Pen is going to be proliferated to the other S series devices, and about how the Note is either going to be gone. Maybe we've already seen the last Note. Maybe there's one more coming. Rumors are kind of back and forth on that. But we do have some confirmation about S Pen support on the S21 Ultra. Now, this comes from an FCC filing, and it does seem to indicate S Pen support on the S21 Ultra. There's a lot of very patenty sorts of, FCC stuff is very heavy on jargon, but basically what it's getting at here is that not only will the S21 Ultra have S Pen support, it's also going to have hover functionality as well, which is something that's present in Surface devices and a lot of styluses. The S Pen on the Note has this, where if the pen gets close to the screen, you get a little icon that sort of floats on the screen down below the pen, so you can do sort of like a mouse over effect. So when you hover over an icon, different options can appear on that icon, so forth and so on. Now, a really interesting thing to point out here is that there's no indication that, one, the S Pen will come with the S21 Ultra, and two, that it will be stowable inside the S21 Ultra. Perhaps Samsung will release a case or something like that that will allow you to store the S Pen there with your S21 Ultra. That remains very much unclear. Now, the good news is we're probably going to have confirmation of this very soon. Give it maybe half a month or longer, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and we should have the full unveiling of the new S series of phones. I do think that they actually do look quite good. I'll bring this image back up here. I like what they're doing with the camera bump here. I mean, it's still really quite massive, and if you suffer from, I think it's called trypophobia or trypophobia, it's the fear of many concentric holes like that, maybe this phone is a little bit off-putting to you. The black one in particular bothers me a little bit more than the silver one. A lot of holes there. It looks like the face of a spider, but I do like the way that they're like sort of chamfered, and the bump kind of rolls onto the side of the phone. And, when you're stuffing giant sensors into a phone, it gets really hard to make them look good and be thin. This is something that we've talked about with the Surface Duo, the fact that it is so razor thin. There's a reason the camera in this thing just isn't very good. It's because if you fit a better sensor in there, guess what? It's physically larger, it's physically thicker. And the result there is that your phone has to be thicker, or you have to have a big old nasty camera bump. But I do think what Samsung is doing there looks pretty okay in terms of camera bumpage. So let's talk for a second about a company called GPD. They make a series of devices that I think are absolutely lovely, from teeny tiny little laptops to game systems, essentially handheld gaming systems that are full-blown Windows PCs. And the GPD Win3, I think, is like the absolute peak of awesomeness for GPD. The Win3 is just awesome. This thing basically is a handheld game system, and the screen will slide up, revealing a full thumbable QWERTY keyboard. This thing is going to be rocking a Core i5-1135 G7 processor for $799, or a full-blown i7-1165 G7 for $899. I mean, these things are actually pretty powerful. And on these new i5s and i7s, you've got inbuilt graphics that are actually fairly competent. You're going to be playing on this smaller screen, so you could lower that resolution a bit, and you could actually get some proper gaming done on this thing. Emulation would be incredible on a system like this as well. It's a 5.5-inch touchscreen. I love the fact that they're integrating the fingerprint scanner into the right thumbstick. That's just like, it's just so logical. It makes so much sense to me. But the specs that they're fitting into this thing are really, really cool. So you're talking about the i7 has 4 cores and 8 CPU threads. It boosts up to 4.7 gigahertz and something that small. It's unbelievable. The i5 will be the same 4 cores and 8 threads, but it's only going to boost up to 4.2 gigahertz, 16 gigs of LPDDR4X memory, and a 1 terabyte PCIe Gen 3 SSD, so your storage read-write speeds will be pretty darn good as well. And for a full terabyte, you can put quite a bit on there. I mean, as far as your, we talk about, you can fit quite a bit of your Steam library on something like that. Now, in the past, the WinMax series basically was like a laptop, a tiny little laptop with, controls up top. And I think that what they're doing now by going to that sort of design, which is reminiscent of a Sony Vaio from back in the day. And I wonder if I can think of what that was called. Yes. We are talking about the Vaio VGN UX50. It is very reminiscent of the UX50, and I love it. You do also get looks like a card reader and then USB-C down on the bottom. So, pretty good as far as connectivity goes. And Liliputing has this awesome comparison here too. A Nintendo Switch, when you've got your Switch there, and then you have this thing that is running full-blown Windows 10, capable of running a pretty good, library of games. And you could even do game streaming if you have a proper gaming PC as well. I love this thing. I would absolutely adore to have one of these things here to test. You've got a headphone jack, USB Type-A, and then there's a Thunderbolt port on the bottom, so not too shabby. There's a docking station as well if you want to try to use this thing as a productivity machine, which is insane. Have a mouse and keyboard and a monitor, drop this thing into a dock, you've got a proper computer at that point. Awesome stuff. And yes, it is fully capable of running something even like The Witcher 3 at close to 60 FPS, which is something that the Switch can only run at 30 so far as I can remember, and it is a very cut down, lower resolution, low settings version of The Witcher 3. Very, very cool. Cannot wait to see more on the WinMax 3 by GPD. And let's close things up with one of the stranger announcements I've seen in a really long time, and I really don't know if I love this or absolutely hate this. I don't want to dilly-dally around. Let's just show you exactly what I'm talking about. That's right, introducing the KFConsole, and this is a KFC branded game system. Now, it's really not, technically, it's a game system. It's meant for gaming, and it's a system, but it really is just a full-blown computer. And this is on the Cooler Master website because Cooler Master is who is making it. Obviously, if you don't know, KFC is a fast food restaurant here in these United States where you buy buckets of fried chicken. And yes, this computer is meant to look like a bucket, which is reminiscent of what you get your chicken out of. And this thing has some really strange features. Apparently, the side of it pulls out to reveal a tray that you could put chicken into and use the heat from the console, your computer, to warm up your chicken. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. This is one of the strangest things I have ever seen. Now, it is using the Intel NUC 9 Extreme as the core, the heart of this thing. And this image here shows a Core i9 9th Gen, which is like way overpowered. They're saying that you're going to have a hot swappable GPU, which, I don't really know what that means. Maybe it's just easy access to that GPU. I don't know what GPU is actually going to be in there right off the bat. So you do have two 1 terabyte NVMe drives in there as well. So they've actually pushed that. That's pretty darn good. They're talking about VR ray tracing, 240 hertz, 4K, finger licking good 4K. What does that mean? Your 4K looks so good, you want to lick your fingers? I don't even understand what that even is supposed to mean. I don't know, guys. What do you think? What do you think of a KFC branded game console? My mind is blown. I don't understand. Guys, that's all the news I have for you today. I hope, like I said earlier, you're having a lovely holiday with your family. Hope you're staying safe while doing so. Videos will continue to churn out. There probably won't be a news video on Christmas Day because it's Christmas Day and I will hopefully be spending some time with family. We will resume the following Saturday with a podcast episode and we will be right back to it as if nothing else has happened. But do stay tuned to this channel for the next issues of News Radar coming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with the exception of Friday. This Friday is Christmas, so don't expect one for this Friday. But generally speaking, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, next version edition episode of News Radar. That is all I have for you on this one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends. If you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a Scary If Literal member. You'll get access to a whole bunch of emoticons to use with live streams and a shout out on an upcoming video. Thanks as always for your continued support.